Welcome once again, YouTube. Cooper's Automotive 2007 Ford Fusion SE 2.3 CV axles left and right side. That's what we're changing on this. Going to show you how we do it. Again, I'm shooting video by myself, so it's hard to get focused in on close-ups of stuff, but I'm going to try. I'm going to pick the camera up, and obviously, first thing we're going to do is take off the center spindle nut. Second thing we're going to do, let me get a light, is take off the lower strut bolt and the bottom ball joint bolt and take all this apart and then slide the axle forward. So let's get started. Tune in right there. Here we are. Let's start with this 34 right there. Here we go. Let's see if Snap-on's got enough juice to take off that big nut right there. Not happening. All right. This will get it done. All right, that's a 34. Just gonna put that on my cart. Then we are not worried about ruining these threads because we're replacing this axle. But she moved very easy, so we moved it back. Now I'm going to take off that lower strut bolt, okay? And I showed you that earlier, right through here. And it's got a little nut that locks in on the back and a bolt and a piece, okay? Next, lower ball joint, 23 millimeter. Lower ball joint nut. Next, I'm going to hit with a hammer that lower control arm right here on the side and try to vibrate that ball joint out of the bottom of this. Tapping on this not hard, it's not hurting anything. There's a sleeve on these. I remember I just did lower control arms on one of these. 2006, so we're out. Now, make sure that continues to slide in. Should be able to lower this down enough and rock this whole thing out of here. That's in theory. If we can't, we'll do something different. Okay, well normally we'd probably take the, excuse me, while I'm thinking out loud, but we would normally take the tie rod end off. But I'm pulling down on lower control arm, getting it out of the strut, the lower strut. You may not need to do this, but it seems right. And just pull it over to the side. I'll get you a close-up of that. Now we want to remove this out of there and let it hang just like that. I'm gonna get you a close-up of this, I promise. In fact, let's do it now. Show you what it looks like. All right, so we got right here. Get a picture of this. I'm trying to see it, guys, and you too. Lower ball joint out of the lower control arm right here. Right here, lower control arm, lower ball joint separated, and the CV boot axle is right here, torn boot. Strut's right here where we got into the opening and pulled it forward on our strut and put it right there. Now we're going to remove that CV axle on this thing. Sorry about that light. There we go. Let's do it. Pry bar should be working on that. Getting right behind the CV axle where it goes in, right back here. Separating it. Finding room actually to try it. I have to pull the bottom cover off. I have to drop this just to access some room. 10 millimeter on that bottom cover. Can't quite get in there. Plastic cover's in the way. It'll be under plastic cover right here. I'm gonna get it out because I gotta do both sides. Bunch of 10 millimeter bolts removes that plastic cover underneath the bottom. You can probably then access the back of this CV axle and just tap it forward. It did. Just a little spring clip in there that holds it. Work it out just like that. And there's your CV axle. Say we're doing both sides on this car. All right, so this is the passenger side, and it's a Napa CV remanufactured axle right there. That's a 95-3294. New nut. And again, work it in between the lower wishbone fork of the lower strut and get it up in there like that. And usually you can tap it in with the strut like that, usually. I have to circle this a little bit out of the way. Well, a little tough. Let's do this. Let's see if we can't get some of this loose stuff out of our way, get some things lined up a little bit. There we go. Then it went on and it slid in. Started it through the center, slid it in. Let's get you a close-up of that. Here we go. I'm a little winded. It's been a day. CV axle in the spindle, through the wishbone, right there, through the wishbone of the strut, back in. Transmission, that's where you just tap it with a hammer, knock that forward. There's your CV axle, passenger side. Now, let's start lining up all this lower stuff. I'm gonna pull the lower control arm back down, push it down, push it back up. You've got to tilt the ball joint around. I'm going to show you that. lined up and going back in. Here we are. So putting the ball joint in right here. It comes through the bottom. Strut bolt back in. CV axle back through there. Here we go. There you go. Here's your sign. Yeah. Now, let's put the bolt through the bottom of the strut. If we can line her up. It's getting pretty good. Let's see here. Let's get a light over here so I can see what I'm doing. Alright. Let's go ahead and knock the slower control arm down in this bushing. It's starting. Gotta push that wishbone back a little bit. I thought it was going. All right, it started. Put our nut back on the inside of the strut. That one's tight. Now we got to start the bottom ball joint and get that tight. Oily time. Lubricate that sleeve. If you look back at the last video that I did, lower control arms on the Ford Focus, you'll see the same lower ball joint that I got to get in there. Let's get this in a little further anyway. We got a new nut with that. It's not quite through.
All right, we're changing the seals.
Okay. Byron, you want to? Yeah. you help me, but it's beating me up a little bit. Looks like it's centered, but it ain't going. All right. Maybe I'm getting tired, huh? Put that up there enough to get that started. That's all I'm doing right there. This thing should really almost fall in there. Bigger hammer. Nope. I got it through. This is 23 right here. Start that. Bottom ball joint bolt. Okay, next I'm going to tighten this nut. I'm going to again look up torque specs. Torque that and you're done. So that's a passenger side CV axle, 2007 Ford Fusion. Greasy Face Tim. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Tell your friends. See you soon.